My girlfriend said, if I want to go somewhere with someone, I'm gonna go. End of story. So I let her, and then exposed her with a framed award in front of the entire company. Hey Reddit, figured I'd share something that happened a while back that still doesn't feel real when I think about it. I've been in my share of weird relationship moments, but this one took some turns I couldn't have planned if I tried. It started with one random comment over lunch at work that didn't sit right with me, and instead of confronting it head on, I decided to just wait and see. Over the next few weeks, little details started lining up in ways that didn't make sense, and before long, I knew exactly what was going on. The only question was how to deal with it, and let's just say I went with an approach that made sure the truth came out in the most unforgettable way possible. So for context, 31 male, been with my girlfriend Stephanie, 27 female, for just over 3 years, living together for the last year and a half. She works in the marketing department of a mid-sized company. I'm not in the same department, but we work in the same building. That's actually how we met. Cafeteria run gone right. I liked her confidence back then. Now I'm starting to think she's just overconfident. We live in my apartment, my lease, my furniture, my name on every bill. When she moved in, it was a pretty simple setup. I cover rent and insurance. She covers groceries and utilities. Never felt the need to put her on the lease, and honestly, that decision is looking smarter every day. Anyway, this all kicked off on what I thought was going to be a boring Tuesday. I'm at lunch with a couple of my coworkers in the building cafeteria, just halfway through a turkey sandwich, when Stephanie walks over with Harold, her coworker. He's mid-30s, always in some fitted shirt like he's about to pose for a magazine. Never had a problem with him, but I've noticed lately he's been popping up in her stories a lot. They grab chairs at our table, and it's all harmless chatter at first. Someone jokes about their husband giving them grief for booking a weekend trip without telling him first. People laugh, throw in their 2 cents. Then Stephanie pipes up with, if I want to go somewhere with someone, I'm gonna go. End of story. She says it while looking straight ahead, but Harold gives this little smirk like he's in on something. My buddy Kyle from IT shoots me a glance across the table. I set my sandwich down and grin. That's an interesting philosophy. She shrugs. It's just facts. Yeah, I say. And facts usually come with details. Speaking of, where are you going and with who? Now she's the one pausing mid-bite. I didn't say I was going anywhere. You just did, I reply, still smiling. Let's hear it. She huffs like I'm making a big deal. It's nothing. Harold and I have to fly out next month for a client meeting. Just a quick trip. No need to act like I'm disappearing for a month. What client? She stabs her fork into her salad. You wouldn't know them. It's industry specific. Try me, I say. Her eyes narrow just a bit. Why are you grilling me over lunch? It's work. I lean back in my chair. You brought it up. I'm just asking questions. Isn't that what adults do? She gives this fake laugh and turns the conversation back to someone else. Harold's just sitting there eating like this is a regular Tuesday. But in my head, I'm already filing this away under pay attention. See, I'm not the type to blow up over lunch in front of half the floor. I've got patience. And I've learned that when someone gets defensive over basic questions, it's either because they're hiding something or they've been rehearsing answers in their head for a while. Either way, you don't tip your hand too early. We finish lunch and they leave together. Kyle lingers for a second and says quietly, that was weird. I just nod. Back at my desk, I pull up the shared work calendar she usually updates when she's got travel. Nothing. Not even a placeholder. Which is strange because she's usually over-organized when it comes to trips. She'll have flight information, hotel booking, meeting times all in there weeks in advance. This time, crickets. I think about bringing it up that night, but that would put her on alert. If she's lying, the last thing I want is for her to know I'm checking her stories. Better she thinks I'm not suspicious so she stays sloppy. That night, she comes home like nothing happened. Drops her bag, asks me about my day, tells me hers in broad strokes. No mention of any client meeting or trip. We cook dinner together. She's laughing at some video on her phone, and I can see from the reflection in the microwave door that she's messaging Harold. I don't say a word. Lying in bed later, she's next to me on her laptop, answering emails. The brightness is low, but I can tell it's not work. I recognize Harold's name at the top of the screen. I don't lean over, I don't snoop. I just make a mental note. If she's this casual about it now, she's going to slip. By the time I'm half asleep, the plan's already forming. I'm not going to nag her about where she's going. I'm not going to get jealous in front of her friends. I'm going to let her think I'm completely fine with whatever she's doing. Because the more relaxed she is, the more she'll leave evidence lying around. And when I make my move, I want it to be airtight. So, Wednesday morning, I start paying attention like I'm running an audit. Not in a creepy, staring over her shoulder way. Just noticing things most people ignore. What time she leaves. What time she comes back. How much detail she gives me about her day without me asking. Who she's texting when her phone lights up. And sure enough, patterns start showing up fast. She leaves the apartment Thursday in business casual. That's just a touch too casual. Blouse tucked into jeans, hair down, perfume I've never smelled on her before. Says she's meeting a vendor before heading into the office. Vendor? In jeans? Okay. She leaves earlier than she normally does. I check the building's garage security app later that morning. Perk of living in a place with nosy HOA committees. Her car's still gone past lunch. She finally rolls back in around 1:30 p.m. No shopping bags, no samples from this supposed vendor. Just walks in, changes clothes, and heads back to work. I don't even ask. I just make a note in my phone. Thursday, vendor meeting before office, gone 5.5 hours, no bags. Friday, same deal. She's up earlier than me. Full face of makeup for what she claims is internal training. Internal training apparently means Harold's silver SUV parked 2 spots over from hers in the company lot when I swing by later that day to drop off a laptop charger for Kyle. I don't go inside, just see enough to confirm they're there together. Not in a meeting room, but walking toward his car. My phone camera is good enough to catch the time, date, and them leaving together. I'm not collecting this stuff to throw in her face now. I'm building a wall she can't climb over later. Saturday, we're both off and she's acting overly sweet. Offers to make breakfast, asks if I want to go see a movie. Classic overcompensation. I play along, keep it light. We do dinner, and halfway through she casually mentions she'll be out late next Tuesday for a client prep dinner with Harold. No invite for me, obviously. Prep dinner? I ask, spearing another bite. For the big meeting you mentioned? She nods. Yeah, Harold wants to make sure we're both on the same page before flying out. I keep chewing. What's the client's name again? I might know someone there. She freezes for half a second before answering. You wouldn't. It's a niche market. That's cool, I say, leaning back. Send me the name later. Just curious. She changes the subject faster than a politician in a scandal. Monday, I decide to verify this client once and for all. I do a quick search with the few vague details she's given. The company exists, sure, but their headquarters are on the other side of the country, and their own website lists no upcoming events, meetings, or expansions in our city. I make another note. Client exists. No meeting scheduled locally. She's lying. Now, I've got enough to know it's not just my gut talking. This is a full fabrication. But instead of confronting, I start thinking about timing. The cleanest way to make a point is in front of an audience that matters to her. Not just her friends. They'll take her side no matter what. Her professional world? That's different. That's where reputation actually matters. So I loop in Kyle, my best friend at work. Kyle's the kind of guy who loves chaos if it's aimed at the right target. I give him the short version. Stephanie's lying about this client trip. She's with Harold. I'm going to make sure everyone knows, but I need it to land hard. He grins. Public or private? Public, I say. And not just public. Undeniable. Kyle suggests we use the upcoming department dinner. Technically, it's for celebrating a record quarter, but he says he can convince the organizer to open it to a few more people. For morale. That means Stephanie and Harold will both be there, plus their higher-ups, plus HR. Perfect. He also tells me he's already talked to the host, saying I wanted to give a short team appreciation toast. She thought it'd be great for morale. Perfect. She has no idea the toast comes with streamers and evidence. But to make that work, I need airtight evidence. Not gossip, not suspicion. Evidence that slaps them across the face before they can even think of denying it. So I step up my tracking without making it obvious. Tuesday night, her client prep dinner turns out to be at a restaurant I know isn't anywhere near their client's industry hubs. I park across the street, far enough that she wouldn't notice my car even if she looked. I watch them walk out together, laughing, his hand on her back. I take a burst of photos. The timestamps alone will kill any business dinner excuse. The next day, she leaves work early for errands. See, I have my buddy Dave in building security who owed me a favor. He's got clearance to pull clips for maintenance reviews. So grabbing 30 seconds of lobby footage wasn't going to land him in trouble. That afternoon, he sent me the hallway shot. Harold leaving right behind her, both heading toward the parking lot. I'm not even asking for this stuff now. People see what's happening and want to help. By Thursday, I've got enough for a small documentary. Photos of them leaving together multiple times. No official client meeting on record. Car logs showing she's gone for hours during vendor meetings. Her own words at lunch about going with someone and it being end of story. Kyle and I start planning the delivery. He suggests I keep it smooth. No yelling, no swearing, just facts presented like a toast. That way, I come out looking composed, and they look like idiots. I like the sound of that. Sound of Friday night, she's on the couch scrolling her phone. I'm at the table going over work stuff, but really, I'm editing a little side project, a framed print that looks like an award. On the bottom, it says, Best After Hours Client Relations with the date of one of their prep dinners. The photo? Them leaving the restaurant, smiling like they're in a rom-com. She has no idea, and I'm not giving her a reason to suspect. If she thinks she's playing me, she'll walk right into the setup without a second thought. When I finally turn in for the night, she's already half asleep. I lay there thinking about how easy she made this. All I had to do was shut up, pay attention, and wait. She wanted to set the rules, but in the end, she's just a pawn in a game I'm controlling. By Monday, I had enough to destroy her client trip story without breaking a sweat, but I wanted it airtight. No room for her to twist words. No, that's not what it looks like. Or, you took it out of context. When I hit her with this, I wanted it to be in front of people who mattered to her, and I wanted her to realize there was nowhere to run. First thing, I verify the client meeting. I call their main office mid-morning, pretending to be Tyler from a partner firm who's confirming the schedule for Harold and Stephanie's visit. The receptionist is polite, puts me on hold for maybe half a minute, then comes back with, Sorry, we don't have anything like that on our calendar. I thank her and hang up. That's all I need. Straight from the source. Their meeting doesn't exist. I head back to my desk, and Kyle is sitting in my chair, spinning slowly like a bored kid in a waiting room. You've got that smug face, he says. I just confirmed our big client meeting is as real as a unicorn, I tell him. Kyle grins. So, dinner's happening? Dinner's happening? Perfect. I bought 2 different party poppers, still deciding between metallic streamers and confetti. You've been thinking about this all weekend? I've been dreaming about this all weekend, he says, like he's talking about a vacation. That afternoon, I start pulling everything into one neat, unshakable package. Screenshots from her texts, photos of her and Harold leaving together, timestamps from the garage log showing her car missing for hours when she claimed vendor meetings. Everything is labeled with dates and times. Anyone who looks at it will see the same story I do. By Wednesday, Kyle's confirmed the seating chart for the quarterly dinner. He's worked his magic. I'm 2 seats away from Stephanie, directly across from Harold, and HR's table is just behind them. Couldn't ask for better positioning, he says. I nod. So they can't miss the look on my face. Or the popper, Kyle adds. Dessert's also going to be something crumbly, by the way. That way, if anyone drops their fork mid-toast, it'll make a scene. You're insane. An insane man who's about to witness the best live performance of his life. Thursday night, I finished the award. It's ridiculous. A nice frame, gold trim, with Best After Hours Client Relations printed in bold under their smiling restaurant photo. I keep looking at it and laughing to myself. She's going to hate how much thought I put into it. Friday morning, I run into Stephanie in the lobby before work. She's dressed sharp, hair done, big smile. Hey, you going to the dinner tonight? She asks, like we're just a normal couple. Wouldn't miss it, I say. She tilts her head. It'll be nice to celebrate something positive for a change. I keep a straight face. Yeah, positive. Back at my desk, Kyle drops into the chair next to me. You nervous? I shake my head. This isn't nerves. This is preparation. Good. You keep your cool, let the evidence talk, and let me handle the fireworks. You're not seriously... Tyler, I've got the timing down. You're mid-sentence, you flip the frame, streamers go off, everyone gasps. It's gonna be perfect. You're going to get us banned from company dinners. Then it's worth it, he says, leaning back with that stupid grin. By the time 6:45 rolls around, we're at the venue. Round tables, white tablecloths, polished silverware. The usual over-the-top setup for something that's really just a glorified team dinner. Harold's in a tailored blazer. Stephanie's in that dress she calls her special work event dress. They're mingling with a couple from her department, both of them looking relaxed and smug. They have no idea they're sitting on a time bomb. Kyle leans toward me as the host makes closing remarks. You ready? I glance down at the frame in my lap, feeling the weight of it. All the proof I've gathered, all the hours of keeping my mouth shut, all leading to this. Been ready, I say. Confetti or metallic? He whispers. Metallic. Knew it. The host smiles in my direction. And now a few words from Tyler. I stand up, sliding the frame under my arm. The chatter fades as every head at the table turns toward me. Stephanie's smiling like she's about to hear some sweet speech. Harold gives me a polite nod. The kind people give when they're pretending they respect you. I let my eyes rest on both of them. Calm, steady. Thank you, I start. It's been a great quarter. We've accomplished a lot as a team. I glance down at the frame. My grip tightens. Kyle's hand is already in his bag. Ready. Showtime. I take a slow breath and let my gaze pass around the table before settling back on Stephanie and Harold. I want them to feel the pause. I want them to know something's coming before it hits. It's been a great quarter, I continue, my voice steady, calm. We've worked hard, we've hit targets, and we've supported each other through some big changes. But some of our team members have gone above and beyond. I see Stephanie's smile flicker just slightly. Not enough for anyone else to notice, but I see it. Harold leans back, folding his hands in front of him like he's ready for some boring corporate pat-on-the-back speech. And tonight, I say, I think we should recognize one partnership in particular. I reach under my arm, slide the frame out, and hold it facing me for a moment. I tilt my head like I'm reading from it. But really, I'm watching them. Stephanie's eyes narrow just a touch. Harold shifts in his chair. This award, I say, is for Best After-Hours Client Relations. I flip the frame around. The photo is crystal clear. Them leaving the restaurant, side by side, her laughing, his hand on her back. The date and time stamped in the corner like courtroom evidence. Silence. I don't mean a polite pause. I mean dead, frozen, cutlery midair silence. You can hear the faint hum of the air conditioner. Stephanie's smile is gone. She's staring at the frame like she can't decide whether to laugh or lunge across the table. Harold's face has gone tight. The kind of tight where someone's brain is moving at 100 miles an hour, trying to find the correct expression and failing. And then, pop! Metallic streamers burst into the air over my left shoulder. Kyle's on his feet, one arm raised like a victorious quarterback, grinning like a maniac. Woo! Exposed! Someone get the camera! He shouts. The whole table jumps. Half the room turns to look. I can see HR's table shifting, leaning forward. I set the frame down gently in front of me. You know, I say, looking between them, I thought about saying a lot of things here. But honestly, I think the picture does most of the work. Stephanie's voice is sharp. This is ridiculous. That was a business dinner. I raise an eyebrow. At an Italian bistro on the other side of town, 3 hours long, with no other colleagues present, and the client says they've never heard of this meeting? Her mouth opens, then closes. She looks at Harold like maybe he'll have something to add. He doesn't. He's just staring at the table, jaw working. Kyle leans in from the side, stage whispering loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. Maybe the client was imaginary. Happens all the time. A few people snicker. Stephanie's glare swings to him, but she doesn't have the nerve to say anything. I keep my voice even. See, I'm a big believer in recognizing hard work, but I'm an even bigger believer in transparency. And I think the team deserves to know what's going on in their department, especially when it involves two people traveling, meeting up outside work hours, and fabricating reasons for it. Harold finally speaks. Tyler, this isn't the time or place. It's exactly the time and place, I say, cutting him off. Because this isn't just about me. This is about the company footing expenses for client work that doesn't exist. That's everyone's time, everyone's budget. And it's about trust, which, from where I'm sitting, is gone. From the corner of my eye, I'd caught Lydia from HR glancing over at our table more than once during dinner. She wasn't here just for the food. She'd been clocking Harold and Stephanie all night like she was waiting for a reason. She didn't wait long. Lydia stands from her table and steps closer. All right, she says in that calm, corporate tone people use when they're trying to control a situation. Why don't we have a quick word in private? I sit back down, hands folded. By all means. Harold shoots me a glare as he stands. Stephanie hesitates, like maybe staying seated will make this go away, then pushes her chair back and follows him. They trail after Lydia toward the side hallway. The second they're out of earshot, the murmurs start. People lean toward each other, whispering. A guy from finance a few tables away actually raises his glass in my direction. Kyle sits down, still grinning, and mutters, "You are my hero." I smirk. You're welcome for the best dinner you've ever been to. We both watch as Harold and Stephanie disappear into the hallway with Lydia. It's only been 30 seconds, but the energy in the room has completely changed. People who wouldn't have given me a second look before are suddenly curious. Colleagues who've never said more than hi in the elevator are now giving me nods like I just won an award for real. After a few minutes, the three of them come back. Harold's face is pale. Stephanie's eyes are red, though I can't tell if it's from anger or tears. They don't sit back down at the table. Instead, they grab their coats from the rack and head straight for the door without a word. Kyle leans over again. Walk of shame. he whispers. I can't help it. I laugh. Quiet, but not quiet enough for the guy on my right not to hear. He smirks too. Dinner resumes, technically, but the vibe is shot. People are half-heartedly picking at dessert, still sneaking glances at me. HR stays put at their table, talking quietly among themselves. I know they'll be following up with me later, but that's fine. My folder of evidence is bulletproof. When the host finally wraps things up, I shake a few hands, accept a couple of good job nods, and head for the exit with Kyle. In the parking lot, he's practically bouncing. Man, you nailed it. The frame? Genius. The delivery? Ice cold. And me? Perfect timing. I glance at him. I'll give you this. The popper worked. You think? Half the room still got streamers in their hair. We part ways, and I head home. My phone's already buzzing. Missed calls from Stephanie. One text from Harold that just says, unbelievable. I ignore them both. Inside my apartment, I set the frame on the kitchen counter. It catches the light just right. I don't even need to look at it to know this isn't over. Not for them. Tonight was just the opening shot, because now the fallout begins, and I'm not lifting a finger to stop it. The day after the dinner, the building felt different. You know that weird quiet where everyone's talking, but they're not talking to you? It was like that, except instead of avoiding me, people were giving me little nods, smirks, or flat-out grins as I passed. I didn't need to guess what was being said in the break rooms. I'd set off a grenade in the middle of the department, and the shrapnel was still flying. Around 10, HR called me in. Lydia, the same rep from the dinner, was sitting there with a legal pad. Her tone was polite, but she didn't bother hiding that she already knew most of the story. Tyler, we just want to confirm a few details, she said. I laid it out plainly. No official client meeting on record. Photographic evidence of repeated after-hours dinners. Timestamps from our building's garage logs. Confirmation from the client's own office that no meeting was scheduled. I slid the folder across the table. Everything's in here. No speculation, no opinions. Just facts. Lydia flipped through it like she was grading a paper she already knew was going to fail. This is thorough, she said. Thank you for bringing it to us. She didn't say it out loud, but I could tell she'd been hoping I had something more than gossip. By lunch, the whispers weren't whispers anymore. A guy from accounting walked by my desk and muttered, "Legend," under his breath. Kyle popped up about 10 minutes later with a sandwich and a grin. You should see the look on Harold's face. He's been in meetings all morning. Stephanie, too. I leaned back in my chair. Meetings or interrogations? Potato, Kyle said. Tuesday, both of their names vanished from the department calendar. They were on leave pending investigation, which in corporate talk means don't get too comfortable, you're probably not coming back. HR wasn't even trying to hide it. They called both into separate meetings within an hour of each other. Neither came back to their desks. About 2 hours later, the department email dropped. Effective immediately, Stephanie and Harold were no longer with the company. No farewell emails. No goodbye cupcakes. Just gone. Kyle strolled by my desk, holding a coffee like he was on a beach somewhere. Guess it's a clean sweep, he said. Guess so, I replied, keeping my voice even. By Thursday, the story had already leaked outside our floor. I overheard someone from another department asking if those two had really been caught faking a client meeting. The story had legs, and it was sprinting through the building. I got a call from a friend in the local marketing network. Apparently, Stephanie's name was getting passed around in group chats, and not in a flattering way. Word was she'd been quietly blacklisted from a couple of industry events. Harold wasn't far behind. People were openly saying his firing was tied to inappropriate use of company funds. Neither of them had reached out to me. I figured Harold was trying to spin the story to his family, and Stephanie was scrambling to salvage her reputation. But our industry isn't that big, and once a story sticks, it's hard to scrape off. And me? I was at home, on my couch, eating takeout and watching a movie. My phone lit up a few times with messages from mutual acquaintances asking, "Is it true?" I didn't respond to most of them. Let the story do its own work. The best part? I hadn't raised my voice once. I hadn't threatened, shouted, or gotten dragged into an emotional back and forth. I'd just put the truth on the table and let it sit there until it started eating away at them. Fallout Week wasn't over. Not by a long shot. But the first wave had already done its job. 2 careers gone in less than 5 days. And I hadn't even had to reload. So, it had been about a week since Stephanie got fired. Things at work were back to normal for me. Meetings, deadlines, and the occasional nod from someone who clearly knew the story. Harold had already been shipped off to his new branch like a defective product return, and I figured Stephanie would just fade into the background. I was wrong. It started with a text on Thursday afternoon. We need to talk, face to face. No greeting, no please. I ignored it. 10 minutes later, another one. You owe me an explanation. Ignored again. That evening, when I pulled into my apartment complex, I saw her car parked a few rows over. My first thought was she was waiting to ambush me in the parking lot. My second thought was correct. She stepped out from behind a column as I locked my car. We're talking, she said, like it was some kind of command. I didn't slow down. No, you're talking. I'm walking. She followed me toward my building. You ruined my career over nothing. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. For what? Some petty vendetta? I stopped at the bottom of the stairs and faced her. Petty? You lied about a trip, snuck around with a coworker, and charged it to the company. That's not petty, that's stupid. She scoffed. It's not like I killed someone. People make mistakes. You were supposed to have my back. I laughed once. You wanted me to be your safety net while you did whatever you wanted. That's not a relationship. That's freeloading. Her face hardened. I moved in with you. I built my life around you. And you just throw it away? You built your life around the wrong person, I said. And you threw it away yourself. She stepped closer. You think you're some hero? Everyone's talking about what a jerk you are. They think you're a narcissist who couldn't handle me having male friends. I didn't flinch. Let them. Facts ended your job, not me. She stared for a beat, then spat out, You'll regret this. Not likely, I said, and headed upstairs. The next morning, regret still hadn't shown up, but a nice long scratch on my car had, from headlight to rear bumper, deep enough to catch with a fingernail. I didn't need to guess who did it. The complex has security cameras, so I went straight to the office. The manager pulled the footage. 11:37 p.m., hoodie up, dragging something sharp along my car before driving off. Filed a police report right there. Vandalism. Clear video evidence. The officer took my statement and said they'd be contacting her. Around lunch, she called. I didn't pick up, but the voicemail was gold. You're really calling the cops over a car scratch? Grow up. You think this scares me? You're pathetic. That evening, pounding on my door. Checked the peephole. Stephanie pacing. I opened it just enough to talk. You need to leave. She crossed her arms. You called the police on me? Do you know how insane that looks? Not as insane as vandalizing my property because you're mad I exposed you. She stepped forward. You're blowing this out of proportion. It's just a car. It's my car, I said, flat. You don't touch it. You don't touch anything of mine. You don't call. You don't text. You're done. Her eyes narrowed. You're really going to pretend you're the victim? I don't need to pretend. The video does it for me. She let out a bitter laugh. You think you've won? I'll be fine. I always land on my feet. I smiled. Good luck, because right now you're jobless, facing a criminal charge, and from what I hear, sleeping on a friend's couch. That one hit. Her jaw tightened, but she didn't say anything. She turned and walked off, muttering under her breath. Turns out, I wasn't wrong. Word around the building was she'd been bouncing between friends' apartments since the firing. Nobody wants a roommate with no income and a police record pending. Harold wasn't doing much better. A mutual contact told Kyle he'd broken up with his wife and was renting a single room in some guy's basement across town. Demoted, broke, and trying to consult freelance, which in this industry is code for no one's hiring me. 2 days later, an officer called to tell me Stephanie had been officially served. She could pay for the damage and accept the charge or fight it in court. Either way, she was out money she didn't have. Kyle texted me that night. Heard about the car. You want me to bring popcorn to court? I replied, You bring streamers? We're done. By the weekend, even neighbors I barely knew had heard. One stopped me in the parking lot. Was that your car she scratched? She was yelling out here last week about how you set her up. I just shook my head and kept walking. That week it hit me. None of this was really about me anymore. It was about her losing control. For years, she'd been able to spin her own reality and get people to go along. This time, nobody bought it. Every move she made now only made her look worse. And the best part? I didn't have to do a thing. Just kept my door shut, my phone on silent, and let her dig her own hole. By the end of the month, she was couch surfing, broke, facing a charge, and still refusing to admit it was her fault. Harold was just as broke, just as unwanted, and suddenly invisible in the industry he'd thought he owned. Delusional, entitled, and finished.